Josh is just unemployed again? My sister said, her smile sharp. The table laughed. Until my phone rang. They didn't know what was coming. I'm Josh Peter, 33, a freelance software developer. My sister's public jab at my job status cut deep, shaming me before family. I used to think family meant support no matter what. Now I know. Sometimes you prove them wrong by rewriting the story. The smell of roasted turkey and pine filled my parents' dining room as I stepped inside, my laptop bag slung over my shoulder, still warm from the drive. Christmas dinner was a tradition, loud, chaotic, the one time our family crammed around the table. At 33, I'd braced for my sister Claire's usual digs, but I thought I could handle it. I was a freelance software developer, piecing together contracts, my income unsteady but mine. I'd coded apps that thousands used, even if the paychecks came in fits and starts. I set my bag by the door, hugged Mom, and nodded at relatives, hoping for a night of peace. Claire was already holding court, her corporate heels clicking as she poured wine, her smile polished like her corner office. She was the family star, marketing exec, always bragging about her promotions. I took my seat, the table piled with mashed potatoes and string lights twinkling overhead. The chatter was warm until Claire turned to me, her eyes glinting. "So Josh," she said, loud enough for Aunt Linda to pause mid-bite. "Still unemployed, huh? Must be nice, just drifting." The table laughed, a sharp, awkward sound. My face burned, my fork frozen in my hand. Jobless? I'd just finished a contract, had 2 more lined up. She knew that, she'd seen my texts about it. "Freelancing's work, Claire," I said, my voice low, but she waved it off. "Sure, if you call sitting in your apartment all day a job," she said, smirking, her words landing like a slap. My cousins chuckled. Dad looked down, Mom fussed with the gravy. The room felt smaller, their laughter louder, Claire's eyes daring me to fight back. My hands clenched under the table, my pulse hammering. I'd spent years dodging her jabs, thinking family meant taking the hits. But this wasn't just a tease, it was public, deliberate, meant to make me small in front of everyone. I stayed quiet, my jaw tight, pushing food around my plate. The dinner dragged on, Claire's voice dominating, her stories of corporate wins drowning out the holiday cheer. I thought of my late nights coding, the apps I'd built, the clients who trusted me. I wasn't jobless, I was free, building my own path. But Claire's words stung, reopening old doubts about my choices. As I helped clear the table, my phone stayed silent in my pocket, but her "unemployed again" echoed. I hugged Mom goodbye, my bag heavier on my shoulder. Claire thought she'd won, thought her success gave her the right to bury me. She'd learn I wasn't the nobody she painted. Claire's mockery cut deep, but it woke something in me. I'd show her what Jobless could do. The drive back to my apartment was quiet, the city lights blurring as Claire's "unemployed again" looped in my head, each word a fresh jab. I dropped my laptop bag by the door, the Christmas dinner's warmth replaced by the hum of my fridge and the sting of her smirk. At 33, I'd carved out a life as a freelance software developer. Apps built, clients happy, but the gigs were patchy, the pay inconsistent. Claire knew that, knew I'd just finished a contract, yet she'd painted me as a deadbeat to the whole family. My hands clenched, the shame of their laughter mixing with rage. She'd made me small, and I was done taking it. I sank onto my couch, the glow of my laptop harsh in the dark. Claire's life was all polish, corner office, big salary, stories of boardroom wins she'd bragged about at dinner. I'd always let her shine, thinking family meant cheering each other on. But her jab wasn't just sibling rivalry. It was a public gut punch, meant to elevate her by burying me. I opened my email, scrolling through old messages, trying to shake the image of her smirk. Aunt Linda's chuckle, Dad's averted eyes. Then I saw it. A cryptic note from a client I'd worked for last year, someone Claire had referred to me. "Watch out for your sister," it read. "Her team's playing dirty." My pulse quickened. Dirty? Claire was a marketing exec, always boasting about her campaigns, but I'd heard whispers. Colleagues she'd thrown under the bus, credit she'd stolen. I searched her name online, digging through LinkedIn posts, industry forums, company reviews. A pattern emerged. Complaints about her team's inflated metrics, clients misled. A co-worker fired for her mistake. My jaw tightened as I saved links, my coffee going cold. Claire wasn't untouchable. She was reckless, her perfect life built on shaky ground. If I could find proof, I could turn her lie about me into her downfall. I leaned back, my apartment silent. the weight of her words heavy. Exposing Claire could shatter her career, maybe our family, but the shame she'd piled on me, the way she'd made my work invisible, burned hotter than fear. I thought of my dad's advice. Keep your head down, Josh, and work. I'd done that, coded through nights, built apps from scratch. It wasn't enough for her. Now I'd fight back, not with words, but with truth. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, ready to dig deeper. Claire thought she'd won at that dinner table. She was about to learn how wrong she was. Claire's perfect life was a lie, and I'd found a crack. Could I break it open without breaking us all? The glow of my laptop screen lit my apartment, the clock ticking past midnight as I sifted through forums and company reviews about Claire's firm. Her Christmas jab, unemployed again, still burned, each word a spark to my anger. I wasn't jobless. I'd just wrapped a contract, coding an app for a startup, but Claire's lie had made me small in front of family. Now I was peeling back her perfect life, and what I found wasn't pretty. Posts from ex-coworkers hinted at her tricks. Faked campaign metrics, clients misled, a junior staffer fired for her mistake. My hands tightened on my mouse, my coffee cold on the desk. Claire wasn't just cruel, she was dirty. I dug deeper, pulling up public filings for her company's recent campaigns. The numbers didn't add up. Revenue spikes that made no sense, budgets inflated beyond reason. A client's email from last year, the one warning me about Claire, echoed, "Her team's playing dirty." I searched her name on industry boards, finding a thread about a marketing exec who'd claimed credit for a viral campaign that wasn't hers. My pulse raced as I saved screenshots, each one a piece of her lies. This wasn't just sibling payback. It was about the people she'd stepped on, the truth she'd buried. I texted Mike, a coder I'd worked with who'd briefly been on Claire's team. "Know anything about Claire's deals?" I asked, my thumb hesitating. His reply was instant. "Call me. She's a snake." His voice was low, bitter. "She faked reports, Josh. Took my work, got me pushed out." Mike had emails, Claire instructing him to adjust metrics, proof she'd passed off his ideas as hers. My jaw clenched. My apartment silent except for the hum of my laptop fan. This was bigger than her dinner table jab. She'd built her career on fraud, and I had the chance to expose it. But doubt hit hard. Going after Claire could fracture our family. Mom's disappointed sighs, Dad's silent judgment. If I leaked this, I'd be the one starting the war. My freelance gigs were steady but fragile. A family fight could drag my name into the mess, cost me clients. I pictured her smirk, the table's laughter, the way she'd made my work invisible. I saved Mike's emails to a flash drive, my hands steady but my chest tight. This was justice for me, for Mike, for everyone she'd cheated. Mike's text buzzed, "You want more? I've got it." My throat tightened. I was in, but the cost was staring me down. Claire's lies were in my hands, but so was our family's fragile bond. Could I expose her without losing everything? My apartment was dark except for the laptop's glow. The clock ticking past 2 a.m. as I sorted through Mike's files and my own findings on Claire's fraud. Emails where she ordered adjusted campaign metrics, stolen presentations credited to her, a fired coworker's complaint about her lies. It was all there. A trail of deceit propping up her corporate shine. My hands shook as I saved them to a flash drive, Claire's unemployed again jab from Christmas dinner echoing like a taunt. At 33, I'd coded apps from scratch, hustled for every freelance gig, but she'd made me a punchline. Now I was rewriting her story. Mike came over the next night. His laptop packed with more. Internal memos where Claire claimed credit for his work. Budget reports inflated by 20%. A client email demanding answers she'd dodged. "She's been at this for years," he said, his voice low, eyes scanning my cluttered desk. We compiled a dossier, dates, names, proof of her fraud, airtight and cold. Our plan was to send it anonymously to her CEO, a guy known for hating bad press. My pulse raced as we drafted the email. Claire Peters' misconduct, evidence enclosed. My coffee sat untouched, the flash drive heavy in my hand. This could end her career, her smug superiority. "You sure about this, Josh?" Mike asked, leaning back, his face tense. "This'll torch her." My throat tightened. Torching Claire meant risking family, Mom's tears, Dad's lectures, maybe losing them all. My freelance gigs were steady but fragile. If Claire spun this, I'd be the jealous brother, my client spooked. I pictured the dinner table, her smirk, Aunt Linda's laugh, the way she'd erased my work. "I'm sure," I said, my jaw tight. We routed the email through an encrypted server Mike used for freelance work, covering our tracks. One slip and Claire's charm could turn this on me. She was good at playing the victim. The dossier was complete, a weapon built from her own lies. I saw her at that Christmas dinner, her wine glass raised, her voice cutting me down. She thought her corner office made her untouchable, that my jobless life was nothing. Doubt lingered, heavy as the laptop on my desk. What if this backfired, cost me more than her? But her laughter, her deliberate cruelty burned hotter. I'd been the quiet brother, coding in the shadows while she shone. Now I'd shine a light on her. Mike's voice cut through. We send this, no going back. I nodded, my fingers cold. Claire thought she'd buried me. She was about to learn what my silence could do. The dossier was ready to ruin Claire, but one mistake could ruin me. Was I ready to hit send? The family barbecue was loud. Kids running, burgers sizzling, mom fussing over the potato salad. I sat at the picnic table, my phone heavy in my pocket. Claire's Christmas jab, unemployed again, still raw. I'd sent the dossier 2 days ago. Mike's encrypted server hiding our tracks, its proof of Claire's fraud. Faked metrics, stolen credit, now in her CEO's hands. My stomach churned as I watched her across the table, laughing with cousins, her corporate polish intact. She didn't know her world was about to crack. Then my phone buzzed, loud enough to pause the chatter. Josh Peter? A voice said when I answered, stepping away from the table. This is Mark from Apex Tech. We want you for a 6-month contract, lead developer, $120,000. My breath caught. Apex was big. A client I'd pitched months ago, a deal that could redefine my freelance career. I glanced at the table. Claire's eyes narrowed, Aunt Linda's fork froze, Dad looked up. I'm in, I said, my voice steady, loud enough for them to hear. The table went silent, their Christmas laughter gone. Claire's smile faltered, her wine glass still. I hung up, my pulse racing, and sat back down. Just a job offer, I said, shrugging, my eyes on Claire. Her jaw tightened, but before she could speak, her phone pinged. She glanced at it, her face paling. Mike texted me seconds later. CEO got the dossier. Claire's called in tomorrow. My hands went cold under the table, the flash drive's weight still in my pocket. The dossier had landed. Her faked reports, stolen work, all exposed. A news alert popped up. Tech firm faces internal audit over marketing fraud. Claire's empire was teetering, and I'd lit the fuse. But fear hit hard. Claire was sharp, vicious when cornered. If she traced this to me, she'd spin it, paint me as the jealous brother, ruin my new deal with Apex. My freelance gigs were solid but fragile. A family feud could spook clients. I pictured her at Christmas, her jobless jab, the table's laughter. This wasn't just about me. It was for Mike, the coworker she'd fired, the clients she'd misled. My phone call had shifted the table's eyes to me, respect replacing pity. But Claire's glance, sharp as a blade, told me she wasn't done. I gripped my fork, the barbecue's noise fading back in, Mom's voice asking about dessert. My victory was real, the Apex deal, Claire's unraveling, but the air felt thick with risk. I'd proven I wasn't jobless, but I'd also set her world on fire. She didn't know it was me, but she'd fight back. My call silenced the table and Claire's lies were crumbling. But could I stay in the shadows before she struck back? The barbecue's smoke still hung in the air as I drove home, my phone glowing with the Apex Tech contract. $120,000, lead developer, a career-defining win. Claire's pale face at the table, her phone's ping replayed in my mind. The dossier had hit its mark. Mike's text confirmed it. Claire's fired. CEO canned her after the audit. My hands tightened on the steering wheel, a grin tugging at my lips. Her faked metrics, stolen credit, and buried lies, exposed by the files Mike and I sent, had cost her everything. Her corner office, her corporate shine gone in a day. I'd done that from my jobless apartment with a flash drive and silence. The news spread fast. A headline popped up. Marketing exec fired amid fraud scandal. Claire's name was mud, her LinkedIn profile dark, her industry connections cut. Mike called, his voice lighter than I'd ever heard. She's done, Josh. They're suing her for damages. My dossier, emails, reports, proof of her scams had unraveled her empire. The family group chat buzzed, cousins whispering about her fall, Aunt Linda texting me. Heard about your big job. Proud of you. The Christmas dinner laughter, her unemployed jab was buried under my Apex deal. Dad even called, his voice gruff. Didn't know you had that in you, son. I'd shifted the story, my worth clear. But the victory wasn't clean. Claire's betrayal, her smirk, the table's chuckles, had cut deeper than I'd admitted. I sat in my apartment, the flash drive on my desk, the laptop's hum steady. I'd won, but the family was fractured. Mom's texts were short, torn between us. Claire hadn't reached out, but I knew she was out there, licking her wounds, maybe plotting. My Apex contract was signed, my career soaring, but fear lingered. She was sharp, could spin this, drag my name into her mess. My freelance life was solid but fragile. Clients could bolt if she turned the family against me. I thought of Mike, fired for her lies, and the clients she'd misled. This wasn't just about me. It was justice for everyone she'd stepped on. The barbecue's silence when my phone rang, the shift in their eyes from pity to respect felt right. But the cost was there in the quiet where family used to be. I pictured Claire at Christmas, her wine glass raised, her jab slicing through me. I'd brought her down, but the scars stayed. My dad's words, "Keep your head down, Josh, and work," hadn't saved me. My fight had. I stood, the flash drive heavy in my hand. Claire's empire was ash, and I was rising. But the weight of what I'd done, what I'd lost, clung to me. Claire was ruined, and I stood taller than ever. But could I live with the family I'd broken to get there? My apartment hummed with the quiet of a new life. My laptop opened to Apex Tech's project dashboard, code flowing under my fingers. A week into my $120,000 contract, I was leading a team, building an app that could hit millions of users. At 33, I'd turned Claire's unemployed jab into a lie. My name now carried weight, my freelance hustle paying off. But the flash drive with her dossier sat on my desk, a reminder of the cost. I'd brought her down, and though it felt just, the weight of a fractured family lingered. Claire was gone from the industry, her reputation in ashes. Mike texted updates, "She's unhireable." Lawsuits piling up. Her faked metrics, stolen credit, and buried lies exposed by our dossier had cost her job, her status, everything. The family group chat shifted. Cousins praised my Apex deal. Aunt Linda called me the comeback kid. Dad sent a rare text, "You did good, Josh." The Christmas dinner, where Claire's smirk and their laughter had cut me, felt distant now. I'd rewritten the story, my quiet strength louder than her corporate shine. I walked to my desk, the city's lights flickering outside. Apex's team trusted me. Clients emailed praise, my bank account steadier than ever. But Claire's betrayal, her jobless taunt, the table's chuckles, still stung. I'd spent years taking her jabs, thinking family meant swallowing pride. The dossier had been my fight back, justice for Mike, for the clients she'd misled, for me. But it came at a price. Mom's calls were short, her voice strained, caught between us. Claire hadn't reached out, but her silence felt heavy, like a storm waiting to break. I'd won, but the family I'd known was cracked. My phone buzzed, a new project brief from Apex, another chance to build. I set the flash drive aside, its work done. I wasn't the guy who sat silent at that Christmas table, letting Claire's words bury me. I was Josh Peter, the coder who'd exposed her lies and carved a new path. Her downfall was hers alone, but the scars of her betrayal stayed. My dad's advice, "Keep your head down, Josh, and work," hadn't saved me. My fight had. I'd guard my worth now, my eyes open, never letting anyone make me small again. I closed my laptop, the apartment quiet, my resolve hard as steel. Claire's empire was dust, and I stood taller than ever. But the cost of victory, the family ties frayed, sat heavy in the silence. I'd proven Claire wrong and risen higher. But the family I'd lost haunted me. Could I carry that weight forever? My apartment was quiet, the city's lights flickering outside as I closed my laptop, Apex Tech's project dashboard dark for the night. A month into my $120,000 contract, I was leading a team, coding an app that could reshape my career. At 33, I'd turned Claire's unemployed lie into dust, my freelance hustle now a cornerstone of respect. The flash drive with her dossier sat in a drawer, its work done. I'd won, but the victory wasn't clean, the weight of a broken family heavy on my shoulders. Claire was finished. Mike's last text confirmed it. She's out of the game. Lawsuits and all. Her faked metrics, stolen credit, and buried lies exposed by our dossier had stripped her of her job, her status, her corporate shine. Industry forums blacklisted her, her name a warning. The family saw it too. Cousins texted congratulations on my Apex deal. Aunt Linda called me a fighter. Dad's gruff, "Good job, son," hit harder than I expected. The Christmas dinner, where Claire's smirk and their laughter had burned me, was a fading memory. I'd rewritten the story, my quiet strength louder than her taunts. But the scars remained. Claire's jobless jab, the table's chuckles, the way she'd made me small, they cut deeper than I'd let on. I'd trusted family, believed support was unconditional. My dad's words, "Keep your head down, Josh, and work," hadn't shielded me from her cruelty. The dossier was my answer. Justice for Mike, for the clients she'd conned, for me. But it cost me. Mom's strained calls, the family group chat's awkward silences, Claire's absence like a shadow. I'd exposed her from my apartment, never raising my voice, but the fight left cracks in the bonds I'd once held tight. My phone buzzed. A new Apex project, another chance to build. I left the flash drive in the drawer. Its rollover. I was Josh Peter, the coder who'd toppled a liar and carved a new path. Claire's downfall was her own, sparked by my truth. No one, not her, not anyone, would diminish me again. I stood, the city quiet outside, my resolve iron. The pain of her betrayal lingered, but my purpose was clear. I'd guard my worth, my work, my voice with the strength forged in that silent victory. Claire was gone, and I stood stronger than ever. But could I outrun the shadow of a family lost?